Hi, Maris.
Hi, James.
How you doing today? You
Great to
okay?
see you. Very good, very good. Yes, had a fairly busy morning, but I'm very excited about the prospect of having conversation with yourself, and yeah, very much looking forward to sharing some
So,
insights.
as you know, we generally start off with a quick introduction to yourself and who you're representing. So, if you don't mind.
Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. So my name is Maris, and I work for Etihad Airways, and I've been working for the company for the last 4 years. And I look after MICE groups and leisure travel within the Etihad. So essentially, I help companies find the best deals, best flight options for their group and MICE requirements, whether it's be to Abu Dhabi or beyond. And work very closely with many of the accounts in the UK to really find the best opportunities and best deals for them in the market. And on the other side of the job, I work a lot with travel leisure agencies, be it Expedia, be it cruise companies, and lots of like specialist markets. So I kind of have a 360-degree overview of different type of requirements, really more in a specialist market again, and offering my advice and information to those guys and making the best decisions of choosing the right airline and the destination as well.
Okay, and I guess the best place to start, as we found by doing these. I mean, obviously the travel and events industry have been hit very hard. So how's it impacted in terms of travel and sort of the airlines?
Giving you just generally speaking, it has been impacted, of course, by massively in terms of the reduction in flights and access to the destination as well. And we just had to look at back in March and April in terms of agencies and clients not booking anymore and really just waiting and preserving themselves, I guess, for as and when the travel starts again. And having said that, we as an airline have been working really hard behind the scenes and invested 140,000 hours and man hours of getting our aircrafts ready, really, when the customers are ready to fly. Adding new touches on board of aircraft, changing seat coverings as well, and ensuring really the aircraft and then also the whole airport experience is up to the highest standards and complying with the health and safety regulations. So we've been working really hard very closely with our airport teams and the partnerships to making sure that the guests are ready and we are ready to fly again when it's safe to do so.
I mean, that's another really good point to make, and it's something that we've been finding when we've been doing our interviews with the hotel brand. The investment
Yes.
and the money that has to go in, even though you're potentially not getting any revenue yourself with the current market. So it's really important to show how much investment that you guys are having to find just to sort of operate again without anything coming in. So and a lot of people don't unfortunately tend to recognise that.
Yes, and it's also important to highlight that the airline industry is really an important facilitator of economic growth, facilitator of educational exchange, thought leadership, and also investing into communities, whether it's be developing countries as well. So where you see the airlines traveling to, and that certainly opens a new market opportunities for businesses, for leisure travel, for charity, for humanitarian, education, cultural exchange. And really, it's if you summarize that as the importance of airline industry, and if you put them all together as a country, I think it's something like the 19th largest GDP if you put the airline industry as a country as well. So it's a very important facilitator of our business and cultural exchange development in the world. So yeah, it's very important again in supporting of the leisure and tourism industry to get that economic driver in force as well for all of the countries around the world.
So where are you now in terms of Etihad, as in terms of opening up again?
With regards to the flights, so we are we've been operating for a couple of months now, so since June, July. So we're introducing more and more flights every month. We're working very closely with Abu Dhabi government and airport authorities, as well as the destinations where we're flying to as well. And so far in August, we have 50 plus destinations, and in September, we're looking to add a couple more as well, 60 destinations. So providing the governments are allowing us to fly there, we are ready to fly and to increase our capacity and destinations as well. So far, we've been flying to a few destinations like the Maldives, like Pakistan, Manila. So we've been spending quite a bit of time getting people back to their home countries, repatriation, offering humanitarian flight services as well, and been really focused on the cargo. So we have been maintaining some of the destinations where we've been traveling to with the cargo facilities. So yeah, we're anticipating more destinations to come on board and opening up slowly. But the challenge, of course, is the compliance that comes with it as well, and making sure that when we are opening the network, the people traveling from the UK and perhaps in Australia or Far East Asia are compliant, and the airports are ready, and then so is we. So it's a bit of a long waiting game, but we are definitely ready to take on those challenges and fly as and when the borders open.
That's great. That's great news. And sort of moving on from that, there's obviously going to be and will be some changes moving forward in the way we travel. What sort of changes can we expect? I'm assuming it's sort of all the way through the line from to the minute you get into the airport to check-in to boarding to the whole flight experience.
The flight experience certainly has changed completely from start to finish, as we know as well. So it's but first things you'll notice when you arrive at Abu Dhabi Airport is our wellness ambassadors. So from whether it's a call center online or the cabin crew, so those members of staff have really kind of been trained, dedicated, and to assure our guests when they arrive at the airport as well, in terms of managing expectations, what to expect on board of the aircraft as well, and really put their mind at rest. So we've really been making a lot of investment to making sure that those the clients are really put at rest. And then also throughout the experience of the airport, you also see that we have things like voice activated self-service check-in desk at Abu Dhabi Airport as well, that pretty much checks the people's temperature as well. And so without any requirement, you're able to check in just using your passport and eye and voice movement. There's other developments been happening at the airport, such as like self-sanitizing handrails as well, contactless sterilization gates as well as you come through the airport itself. You've got a thermal scanning, contactless elevator experience as well. So really it's going to be much of a focus of a touchless experience, in addition to obviously all the social distancing, and really just assuring that it's a safe travel experience. We are taking a public health at very important, and again collaborating with our Abu Dhabi government and then again authorities to making sure that the promoters there, the airport is safe and a clean experience to travel as well. And of course, it has to also each of the guests has to take their own ownership as well of their health, and wearing masks and gloves where it to be as well. And so it's a collaboration between ourselves and obviously the guests, making sure that they are having a good travel experience. And yes.
One of the things, sort of moving on from that, and is obviously we're trying to bring back certain sort of, as well as putting information out there for people to use, but we're trying to project confidence back into people to travel, to book events and things like that. One of the questions, obviously, and I'm sure you've answered it a million times for all this, is the air filtration system. People, I mean, we naturally get asked, it's not safe to go on airplanes with the air filters and recirculate air. That's clearly not the case. So have you got anything you can sort of discuss in terms of that for us?
Well, the airline industry is, and like we are quite fortunate that we have quite one of the youngest fleets in the world in terms of airline. And yes, all of our aircraft have been installed with what they call HEPA filters. So essentially, they clean the air or filter the air on board of the aircraft, and pretty much kill off 99.97% of the microbes and bacteria that are in the air as well. In addition to that, the air gets recycled or filtered through every 2 to 3 minutes aboard of aircraft as well, and 50% of the air gets filtered from outdoors, from the outside as well. So that can definitely assure the guests that the air that they're breathing is almost as clean as in the surgical room of the hospital as well, which is unlike other places, maybe like on trains or buses, what have you. And also ensuring that the aircrafts are cleaned at every point of arrival and departure, ensuring that obviously our cabin crew as well wearing surgical masks, and also PPEs on board of aircraft as well. We're making sure that the contact between the guests and the cabin crew has been minimized as well. And also where we can, we try to ensure that there's plenty of space around the guests as well, in terms of when we board the aircraft as well, or disembarkation of the aircraft as well. So there's been a lot of investment happening and done in terms of making sure the aircrafts are clean before the guests get on board as well as they disembark, and including the HEPA filters as well as the ones that you mentioned.
That's great to know, and I think one of the things that I never realised until I spoke to you previously, and I think it'd be a good point to put across to people again for sort of the reassurance, is that I believe you was mentioning in terms of this from a safety aspect from the airline, they need to make sure if you, for example, landed in Australia and there was an outbreak of 4 or more, you know, the company would be banned or fined or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's some countries that kind of have those strict measures in place as well. But again, we're trying to. So essentially, before you get on the aircraft, on any of our aircrafts, or flying to Abu Dhabi or beyond, you are required to have a COVID test that's valid for 96 hours as well. So that's obviously ensuring that before you get to the airport, you must have that in place as well. And again, it's for the safety and for all of the guests that are flying with us as well. It's not only for the for the cabin crew itself as well. So we're trying to make sure that everyone is safe on board of the aircraft as much as possible with the tests. We also have invested in the things such as Etihad flying guest maps. For example, you're able to, when you are planning your destination, where you're traveling to, you can sort of identify where the places are safe, whether you need to require quarantine when you're traveling to those, and that system we collaborated with Etihad. There's also an app that we have developed as well in partnership, so you can also test yourself whether you have potentially a COVID in your system. So by this dedicated app would ask you 20 different questions. So there's measures in place that we have placed as in making sure that the guests are safe to travel as well. But again, within all of that, in reality, is within those even 96 hours that somebody had their test done as well, there could be a chance that somebody's with travels with COVID. But again, we're trying to minimize all the risk possible in terms of social distancing and HEPA filters and all those different things that we have in place as well.
I think it's important to sort of underline as well that the chances are it's more often than not it's not the air filtration or the plane. It's that you've probably from being on holiday or at resort,
yes.
bringing it onto the plane rather than the plane actually being responsible. So.
And again, is again, as you said, is the responsible travel. So if you are feeling unwell, if you're feeling not well to travel, do not travel. Then just respect other travelers as well as the cabin crew as well. So if you can take, not traveling, if you're not feeling 100% safe, it's probably best not to travel.
Okay,
that's harsh to sound.
No. Again, if ever there was a time where we really need to be more responsible, now is the time.
And also just to really for the guests to be familiar with the policies and requirements really to go into each of the destinations as well, and that airlines that they're flying as well. Although sometimes they change every day, but again, it's airline websites are really often very detailed with that information, as well as FCO website, and then our travel wellness guide I mentioned as well, and which is available on our website as well, with all the restrictions that are out there.
I think it's one thing we're sort of emphasising to our clients as well is the need to make sure we have all this information. So ourselves as an event agency, we're looking to work very, very close. Not that we don't, but we work extra closely with our DMCs, with our suppliers every step of the way now, because as you say, things are fluid. So rules and regulations, as we found with lockdowns, things will change, quarantines will change. So it's important that every step of the way we keep the communication open so we all know where we are. So there's no hidden surprises when we sort of go to travel or to put on the event.
Definitely. And again, with especially in events sector, we work with the hotels, we work with DMCs as well. So again, it's just working in, and more than ever before, I think, working in partnerships. Whether it's been with the airline, with the hotel, with the guests, and having that really a joint approach to events, whether it's happening in Abu Dhabi or beyond, working with various experiences with venues and seeing what kind of policies there are in place to making sure that the guidelines are being followed as well. And we probably will see, as more destinations are opening, as more venues are opening, there probably be more guidelines, more principles. But what we can see, it's definitely kind of the social distancing, the measures with the less people perhaps in the venue, less people in destination. That's might be the kind of the future over the next couple of months, and then maybe some restrictions. But no doubt, we as people always want to travel, whether we want to do business, we want to hug somebody, we want to see our friends and family, and we could definitely see that, we would definitely want to go and see things like the Ferrari World, Machu Picchu, and that desire within people will always be there. And especially that's when it comes down to incentive experiences with events, with the meetings, that's what makes our experiences and our bet. Many of us cannot wait to fly again and to really experience those places, those incentives, those experiences in those destinations, and really see for real. both from the airline side and then for the guests, each of us got role to play as well, to making sure when we are traveling or flying or going to hotels and things, it's our role to play to making sure that we are keeping everybody else safe, whether it's wearing masks or absolutely social distancing. And yes, just say essentially, to being really and really looking at opportunities that travel brings, being again, cultural exchange and looking at, investments, and then really, and we as human beings, I think we essentially we love doing business with other people in person. Whilst we might not, choose to travel, essential travel, perhaps if there's a business meeting where we have to go and meet somebody else. But I think definitely, I'm a strong believer that we are people. It's all about people and meeting destinations and really creating those experiences, maybe in a smaller numbers, maybe not today, but definitely tomorrow and the next few weeks and months as well. So it's we cannot wait to have our guests back, whether it's been groups, individuals, and to really help them rediscover the world again.
Absolutely, I couldn't echo that more. I mean, the virtual world has its place, and it's obviously part of the landscape at the moment, and part particularly with events. But I mean, for example, I would very much like to have this conversation in person, and somebody's in person rather than through this. It would be great to be back in front of people again.
Indeed. But so, yeah, as and when again, but the adding on to some positive news as well, we've seen some of the group requests actually for next year, for Abu Dhabi specifically for March and April as well, from some companies. So there's a product launch company, there's a company conference happening as well. We also seeing slowly cruise coming back in a Q1 of next year as well from one of the cruise companies. So we are seeing business coming back slowly for surely, but hopefully with those businesses and us being able to talk about them a bit more in a positive light will definitely curb confidence in many of the businesses and really kind of say, like, right, it's time to travel. And I think we as an events industry, as a tourism industry, need to showcase everyone else that it's safe to travel and getting on those flights, and then really being able to showcase the experiences when we are in those destinations via the camera lens and say, come along, it's good to be back traveling again.
And again, I agree with you. I think obviously we're being responsible for one thing, but we do need to see ourselves going back out there. And once the market does see people out there and what it involves, what it entails, and that is, if you act responsibly within the guidelines, I think that will only help project confidence and move the industry forward, which is what we're all wanting to see.
Absolutely. And as and when Abu Dhabi again opens, and I think the great thing about Abu Dhabi is, I've been there many times, and then from the conversations I had with the MCs as well, I think one of the things is that people are looking for is those, obviously, plenty of space for social distancing. And again, considering the fact that Abu Dhabi is 80% of a desert, and then having many beautiful islands, there's plenty of space for us to set up desert camps out in the desert. You have the beautiful islands, you've got the mangroves, you've got the Louvre, you've got so much actually space for large events and social distancing, whatever that might be as well. So I think hopefully that kind of would resonate with some of the more conservative guests that might be, for the group travel. So they're kind of looking at those destinations that can offer that facility. And I know, again, with some of the DMCs I've been speaking to as well, they ensure that, they have private cars, they have, less guests on the coach as well. So all those things measures been put in place. We see that with the hotels as well, with amazing food experiences, with a lot of innovative experiences. And I think that time now is to really utilize and maybe look at those destinations where previously maybe they've been really, really busy, whereas now they probably won't be that busy. So now I think it's time to go and travel and to really enjoy those places, be it the desert or even some of the sites in the city.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's something that we've been focusing on as well. Is sort of educating our clients into new ways of doing things, but also giving the opportunity to new destinations that they may not have tried, or making them come back to destinations that, like you say, it may have been a case of it too busy, and bringing them back to those destinations again to re-experience them.
Yes, and then also I think the other element we've seen is very much we've been focused on health and wellness element as well, to make sure the guests are traveling well, helping them overcome the jet lag, keeping hydrated, but also the sustainability element as well, which is always remains an important factor for ourselves. Is we've partner with Boeing on some of the experiments that we're currently working on in the biofuel facility that we have established in Abu Dhabi as well. So using the biofuels in our aircrafts. So, and then also trying to reduce the plastic and then the emissions where we can on board of the aircraft as well, looking for alternatives. So I think with Etihad as well, so there's lots of kind of initiatives that are happening behind the scenes that we are trying to kind of innovate and working with partnership with other companies as well. And especially when you come to Abu Dhabi, hopefully that will be visible as well with some of the hotels and venues and attractions that they're looking in those as well. So I think that's another thing that kind of come out of all this the COVID situation, that they focus on well-being and sustainability and green experiences in that space, and well-being is very much been a focus.
Yeah, in terms of sustainability and well-being, like you say, there's been a growing movement, obviously, over the last few years for both of those. I think personally, from what I've seen, some of them, particularly in terms of sustainability, has tended to be a bit more of a buzzword than an actual movement. But I think you know, if we've learned anything from over the last few months with all of this, I think it's going to move into sort of something that's going to be a real focus and a genuine movement, sort of going
yes.
forward.
Yes, so it'll be interesting to see how it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Completely fascinating conversation for me personally anyway. So it's great to find out sort of all what's been happening and the situation, and again, building that trust and that confidence back into travel and going back on the airline.
Definitely. But James, thank you so much for the opportunity and giving us the hopefully expression of interest about Etihad and what we can offer. And we're very much eager to have your guests and the rest of the guys who are watching on YouTube welcoming back on our flights and taking them to our destinations.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
We know it's been a while since we last traveled together, and so much has changed since then. That's why we've completely transformed the travel experience. One that is safer, healthier, and with your well-being at the heart of every journey. And like all great journeys, it begins at the airport.
The first thing you'll notice when you step into the airport are our wellness ambassadors. You'll find their support and reassurance from pre-flight and online to the airport and in flight.
We would always encourage our guests to check in via the Etihad app or our website. That way, when you arrive at the airport, it's just dropping your bag off.
We have installed social distancing signage to remind travelers to keep at least 2 meters between themselves and the others at all times.
We are also just about to launch our self-service check-in and health screening called Fit to Fly.
With Fit to Fly, there are a number of aspects to that. It will read your respiratory system, it will read your heart rate, and it will read your temperature. Once we analyse that, we will then say, yes, you can move on to check-in, or we have to do a secondary assessment.
When you come to immigration, you'll find a new addition to the process, designed to keep everyone safe.
We have set up and installed thermal cameras that measures passengers' temperatures. If anyone has a higher than normal temperature, the camera informs our on-ground health and safety team.
The departures area is no different, with a combination of advanced technology and human expertise, ensuring the highest standards of hygiene.
We are installing self-cleaning escalator handrails. The handrails are completely sanitized as they cycle through the escalator, protecting everyone's health.
We have also introduced APT surface swab technology. We are using this to measure the amount of bacteria and viruses on the surface in the airport and also at the aircrafts.
The new technology that excites me the most is the touchless elevator controls. They are so easy to use, and you know you are staying safe.
And when our guests reach their departure gate, boarding is conducted row by row, just to ensure that queues don't form.
Once on board, you'll find the highest standards of cleanliness in the skies, alongside our friendly and professional cabin crew team, who will be there to assist you throughout your flight.
As the rest of the year unfolds, we are going to continue enhancing and improving the travel experience for everyone.
We're looking to the future always. Everyone will be happy and healthy as they travel wherever they go in the world.
The future of travel has never been safer or more exciting.
Thank you for watching. We welcome any feedback and questions in the comment section below, and please make sure you follow me on all our social networks.